Hello and welcome to Mangum News. I'm your host, Elijah Mangum. This week we'll be discussing a train derailment in Ohio, a mass shooting in Michigan State University, Nikki Haley announcing her bid for president, Governor Tate Reeves announcing a $1.3 billion infrastructure development proposal, a shooting rampage in Tate County, my review for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, my weekly weather report, and my exclusive interview with WLBT reporter Joseph Doerhing. Without further ado, let's begin. A freight train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio on Friday, February 3rd. Residents were evacuated after 4 different hazardous materials, which when the train was carrying, leaked into the water system and into the air. On Monday, 3 students were killed and 5 others injured during yet another mass shooting, this time at Michigan State University. The gunman, 43-year-old Anthony Dwayne McRae, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound when confronted by police.
You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
The former UN ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley announced her bid for the Republican presidential nomination on Tuesday. Her campaign released an announcement video before making it official with a speech the next day. Both the video and speech express the key issues she will be running on. Among these is capitalizing on her minority status and Indian immigrant upbringing.
And take it from me, the first minority female governor in history, America is not a racist country.
She also pushed for the next generation of Republican leadership, calling for congressional term limits and mental competency tests for candidates over a certain age. She even made indirect jabs at President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump on their age.
America is not past our prime. It's just that our politicians are past theirs.
Governor Tate Reeves announced a $1.3 billion infrastructure proposal on Thursday. WLBT's Courtney Jackson has the story.
Road projects and site development for the next industry that chooses Mississippi to call home are on Governor Tate Reeves' wish list. A look at the map reveals many of the MDOT projects the governor wants to see funded are near what he calls shovel-ready sites.
It is by design. We have to be strategic. $1.3 billion is a lot of money, but we don't have unlimited resources. And so we are strategic in the capacity projects that we think will help grow the economy, will help incentivize existing businesses to invest more and create more jobs.
That $1.3 billion isn't available yet. It's what the governor is asking the legislature to allocate to projects throughout the state.
All of these projects are nearing the end of the pre-construction phase. Once MDOT receives money to fund these projects, they can be moved toward the final stages of construction. If they are not funded, they will simply sit idly by.
He says it's also the right time because of inflation.
Every day we wait, these projects become more expensive.
MDOT's executive director releasing a statement saying there's no better use for the one-time money than investing in infrastructure, adding that if the legislature provides the agency with supplemental dollars again, they'll be better equipped to enhance the state's transportation system. And the Transportation Commission Chairman Tom King noting that he looks forward to continuing the conversation with state leaders in the days and weeks to come. Lawmakers have already given the green light to funding for the development of the project-ready sites. The governor pinpointing where $57 million in funds will go for shovel-ready spots.
52-year-old Richard Dale Crum was arrested by the Tate County Sheriff's Office in connection to 3 of 6 deaths in a series of shootings in Arcabutla community on Friday. Crum was charged with first-degree murder. Governor Tate Reeves took to Twitter, stating that it is believed that he acted alone and the motive is not yet known. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania kicks off the MCU's Phase 5 with more of an ant bite than a smash hit. Jonathan Majors' performance as the MCU's next big bad, Kang the Conqueror, was by far the best part of the movie. Not only is he chilling and powerful, but also seductive and charming. The rest of the cast also shines through, especially Michelle Pfeiffer, who has a whole lot more to do than her debut in 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp. While there are some laughs and action sequences layered with impressive visual effects, there are some questionable characters and story choices. The movie has a little bit of an identity crisis as it tries to decide whether it's a small-scale comedy like the other Ant-Man films or a giant spectacle. At points, it feels so big and science fiction that it seems more like a Star Wars movie than an Ant-Man movie. Overall, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
You thought you could win. I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
Spring and even summer temperatures are making its way in this week. President's Day will be sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 64. Mardi Gras will have a 20% chance of rain with a high of 80 and a low of 64. Ash Wednesday will have an 30% chance of rain with a high of 84 and a low of 68. There will be a 20% chance of rain from there through the rest of the week, with temperatures ranging from 60 to 84 degrees. Can you describe your motivations of going into journalism and the education that you've had?
Yeah, no problem. So I was born in Nashville, but I was raised near Mobile, Alabama, just across the bay. And growing up, I'm the youngest of 4. All 3 of my older siblings went to Alabama before me. And while I was in high school over in Mobile, I was taking a sports journalism or sports broadcasting class rather that was offered the first year my junior year. So I took that, fell in love. I knew it was kind of what I wanted to do going after or going into college and then moving on the rest of my life. And my senior year, I took up a role as the media manager for our varsity basketball team. So followed them the whole year, ended up making the state championship, unfortunately losing in the Final Four, in the state championship game, rather. We lost there. I fell in love with what I was doing. I was filming, editing, just being engaged with coaches and teams. And then at Alabama, I went into news and sports media as my major. And again, when I was just kind of falling in love. I loved everything I was doing. I was getting the opportunity to start interviewing some players on campus. I was interviewing other people from different schools. It was just a really good time. And following my junior year at the capstone, I took an internship in Nashville with WKRN2. I was their only sports intern. I was fortunate enough to get that because of COVID. Everyone's internships were getting canceled and nobody was able to really find a good place to go pick up that internship. So very fortunate and blessed to be able to have that opportunity. And there I was able to cover Vanderbilt baseball, Vanderbilt athletics, Tennessee athletics, Nashville Predators, Tennessee Titans. Just absolutely so much fun and just an absolute great experience for what I wanted to do going out of college. And kind of when I came back my senior year to go to classes, I was like, I don't even want to be here. I know what I want to do. I've gotten that taste of what I want to do. Like now I'm just sitting in a classroom waiting to get my degree. But you got to wait your turn, and finally walked across that stage in May of 2022. And I'd say early June, that's when I got the offer from WLBT, and I accepted, and I started on August 1st. I'm a multimedia journalist, but I just rather call it news and sports reporter. Help out with sports whenever I can. It's what my passion is. I like doing news, but it's not necessarily my forte. I prefer to do sports. But long-term goal is sports broadcasting and some kind of sports announcing role.
Can you tell us a little bit about, what is the day in the life of Joseph Doerhing look like in a little bit more detail? You kind of covered how you do. Sometimes you can do sports when you can, but your main thing is news right now. But can you discuss a little bit of how that looks like?
Yeah, so I'll kind of take you a short day in the life of both. So obviously, like everyone else, I wake up to start my morning. I drink a cup of coffee. I'll sit down. If I'm doing news that day, I'll figure out what my story pitch is going to be at about 7:30 in the morning. Write it out, find it, send it over to my bosses, and then when I get to work at 9:30, we go into the morning meeting, and that's where we're given our story pitches, whether they like what you pitched or not. If they like it, they'll green light it. That's what you're doing the rest of the day. If not, they will give you another story to go cover, and you'll just go out and start trying to call people, set up interviews, and just go learn more about what you're actually covering for the rest of the day. So news news can be tricky. This has happened to me quite a bit, and it happens to people a lot, is what I hear when you first start at a new place. You'll have stories that won't work out. It'll be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're still waiting around for those interviews and really just kind of holding out hope. And once if it happens, it's not the end of the world. It is kind of stressful, but you will be given another story to go cover, or just kind of wait around and find another angle on what you were doing in the first place. But the days it does work out, it's phenomenal. And I'll usually have a interview or two set up mid-afternoon or early afternoon, and then I'll get back to the station, start cutting my sound bites, start writing up my scripts, and depending on what the day is, I might be going live at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, or I'll be fronting my story in the studio for both of those shows. It really depends on what the day is and what your news director really wants you to have your story look like on broadcast, whether he wants your face attached to it or not. Some stories take other precedence than others. But in terms of sports is much different because, say, Patrick, I recently watched your interview with him. He gives me a game or a story to go cover. For example, Hattiesburg was Friday night. The 6A MIAS playoffs were going on. It was the semifinals. I went down there because not only did we have 3 teams from the Jackson area playing in those games, but we also had a kid named Josh Hubbard, who's the #1 player in the state. He was on the verge of breaking the state career record for most points scored. And it was more so like, we need you to go cover the game, but this is why we're really sending you here, is because we've got a really good news sports aspect angle of it. So that was the bigger picture of the story. Other times, I'll go to Starkville, I'll go to Oxford, like Casey Thomas does. I'll go up there, film a game, report on it, go back, or send in the highlights, send in a nice package for them, give them a full game recap. It's sports is really fun. I like it because it's not every single event is ever the same. There's always something different. The game's always different. You've got different ways of editing, the way you cover it. It's just I feel like it opens the door so much more for myself to be creative, and I just enjoy that. Again, I enjoy it a lot more than I do news. Not to say I don't enjoy doing news, because I have had days where the news story I'm covering, I might have not been very interested in it when I was first told what it was. End of the day, it ends up being a great story, and I'm very pleased with my work.
And are you typically on day side or night side or early morning? What typically is your shift?
Yeah, so like I said, I work Tuesday through Saturdays. Tuesday through Friday, I'm typically dayside, 9:30, 6:30, and then Saturdays, weekend days in general just kind of depend on what your story is. Again, say for example, yesterday I had to go to Meridian. I had to be there at 10 in the morning for a electric car show, and I'd say typically that's normally the case on Saturdays. You'll have like an earlier event to go cover, but you will most likely be at the station till pretty late at night, say around 8:30, 10:30, because you still have to go back and be on camera for those shows at 6, 9, and 10 o'clock. Last night I was able to get off a little early because I had pre-recorded my stuff, but typically Saturdays you'll start mid morning and then finish pretty late at night.
Can you tell me a little bit about what your advice would be to an aspiring journalist?
My advice to an aspiring journalist would be to try and find the internship that you want. What if you're still in school? Definitely find an internship that suits what you want to do. Like I said earlier, I was fortunate enough to be able to land one at that station in Nashville and work as a sports intern. It showed me what I wanted to do. Internships are really the kind of molding point where you're going to realize, is this something I want to do for the rest of my life? Or is this something that I would like to use to get to a different point in my life? But if you get there and you realize, hey, this isn't exactly what I want to do, then that internship gives you a little buffer point before you graduate and you need to go out and find a full-time job to kind of sit back and think, hey, maybe I need to take a different approach to what I want to do, or hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my career, and I'm going to pursue it with everything I've got. Another piece of advice I would give is, when you're getting towards the, I'd say, quarter point, definitely halfway point of your senior year, and you're planning on starting a job right out of college, you need to be looking for jobs as soon as the halfway mark of your the halfway point of your senior year. That's what I did. It benefited me very well. I was looking for jobs starting in December of 2021, and it actually wasn't until, I'd say, April that LBT came across my radar and on my LinkedIn. But it's very nice if you set up, like, for example, this is what I did. I'm not saying this is what everyone would have to do, but I set up an Excel sheet. I put every single job title, where it was located, who I talked to, did I follow up with them, did I hear back from them, application received, submitted, approved, not approved, whatever. Just all the details you get, and the day you applied for, especially, because it'll help you keep track. I've had job offers that I received job offers after I signed my contract with WLBT that I had applied for in February. And I was getting these offers in July and August, right when I was about to start and after I had started at work. So definitely keep track with all the places that you're going to be applying at. It really helps you navigate and narrow down where specifically is going to be the best fit for you. I chose to work in Jackson because it was close to home. It's close to where I went to school. I'm still able to go connect with some friends, and it just kind of worked for me. But other people, it might not. You might be starting your first job 10 hours, 12 hours away from home, and that can be a scary experience. I got an offer in San Angelo, Texas, before I even had spoken with anyone at WLBT. It was a 16-hour drive from home. It was a sports director role. I was not very, comfortable with being that far away. It was kind of in a remote area, but that's a personal preference. And I just would invite everyone that is trying to do a career in news, sports, any kind of media broadcasting to really take your time with looking at places. Don't rush into anything. Make sure you're taking advantage of every opening there is out there, but definitely don't jump the gun and just take a job to say you have a job, because you're going to sign a contract and you could get there and you might realize that's not the place for you, or, you might get an offer from someone else that you were waiting around for, but just lost faith in, and they'll give you an offer and you're already signed in a contract. So I've heard multiple experiences from other people that I went to school with at Alabama that are now all across the country. And, everyone's got I would say they've got similar advice to give as well on that.
That's all we have for this week. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on Monday.